Some breaking news out of Cuba tonight. CNN confirming that a U.S. diplomat held high-level talks with the Cuban government in Havana this week, the first such talks in several years, and that has given Cuban immigrants some new hope, which brings us to tonight's newsmaker. Gloria Estefan is a proud Cuban American and has, of course, been a chart-topping music star for 3 decades now. Well, as a Cuban immigrant, she has always supported those living under communism there, and I spoke with her about that just a little bit ago. Listen. I just read something very recently about you that I was stunned when I saw it. That the CIA had tried to recruit you to be a spy. Tell us the backstory. What was happening?
I was about to start University of Miami, and my minor was French. So I got a college work-study job at the airport as an interpreter for French, English, and Spanish. And they thought, I was 17 years old. I was a baby and very quiet and very subdued. And the guys that were undercover there approached me about 7 months into my job, saying that they had been watching me and that they thought I would really make a great operative. So they wanted me to go and train in Atlanta, and I told my mom. She hit the roof. She said, "No, your father already gave up his life for his country, and like, you're the only thing I have left. Don't do this to me. I won't be able to sleep." And it got a little difficult, so I didn't do it, but I would have loved it.
Really?
Although actually, you don't know, maybe I did. This perfect cover. Isn't this a perfect cover?
That was a pretty good cover, I will say. Very clever of you to become like a superstar. It's like, just to throw everybody off their game.
The perfect cover.
Let's talk about Cuba. The Obama administration has loosened restrictions somewhat to allow people like yourself, if you wanted to travel back. Would you ever go?
To tell the truth, we were back in 1979 when Jimmy Carter opened the first time, because Emilio's brother and 2 children were there, and we still hadn't been able to get them out of Cuba. We had been trying for 14 years.
Right.
So we went back then. That was before the fame or any part of it. Emilio and I were newlyweds. We just gotten married. And it was claustrophobic, or castrophobic, as I call it. It was a tough 10 days we spent there.
Do you think it's changed? I mean, do you, just in that time, I mean, think about it now. Would you go back now, right now, to...
They don't let me in now. I am persona non grata. I've been very vocal. Speaking against the government of Cuba and what's going on there. So,
and you've even actually said, I can't go back there for that reason.
Yes,
that
exactly
they would track
yeah.
me down.
Yes, we just recently with the concert, everybody's saying you should go, you should go. First, for me, it would be tough, because to stand there and know that I'm going to sing for these people, entertain them for a couple hours, and then leave, and they're in the same situation that I left them in. My father was in a Cuban jail for 2 years, political prisoner, and it would be very tough for me, but they wouldn't let me in anyway.
But just to clarify for people, you're talking about the peace concert.
Yes, the peace concert,
with
the Juanes concert, yes.
Which a lot of people said was a great thing, that it gave young people there such hope. I mean, do you agree with that?
I do agree. I'm glad that somebody went. For me, it's a different issue, because it transcends so much just the simple entertainment of the Cuban people. When it's me, because I am Cuban, I know what's going on there. I know what the government does to the people. I saw subtle things that most people wouldn't notice in the audience. But for them, it was fantastic. The fact that they were able to, for a while, a few hours, be at that place where people have been killed by the government, and where it's usually been a very sad place, and where they've been forced to see a lot of political speeches and things forced down their throat. It was wonderful for them to just be there freely, having a good time and enjoying music. I thought that was a good thing.
We are launching a series, Latino in America, on CNN. We're at this time where demographics in this country are changing. What do you think it means to be Latina in this country now?
Well, I think it's very different to be Latina in this country now than it was quite a few years ago, as we know.
Why?
Well, first of all, we're, a huge minority. We'll probably be, by the year, I think 2025, will be a quarter of the population of the United States. We have now a political power, because we've been here long enough, where people are citizens and are voting, and that's a very important voting bloc. Even though we're not, monolithic, it's pluralistic, and we have all kinds of ideas, but we do have that power of the vote. We have the economic power, that advertisers are now paying more attention to, the Latin market. So I think it's very different, and it's still a melting pot, but I think that it's nice to be enriched by your culture, and we haven't forgotten that.
You also look, though, at this bitter fight over immigration in this country. Do you think people feel threatened by that change when you talk about the demographics and how it's going to change this country?
I think they're going to be afraid of it if they're made to be afraid. I mean, this country's built on immigration. Unless you're a Native American Indian, you came from somewhere else, somewhere down the line. And it's only made this country incredibly strong. The people that built this country had an idea that they wanted to create a place that was equal for all. And we have to continue to remind ourselves that that's what this country is about and not be afraid of who's coming here. The immigrants that have come have done a lot for this country. They work hard. They do things that a lot of people don't want to do. You know, the jobs that Americans no longer want to do falls to the people that need to work. And I think it'd be crazy to fear that. I think that needs to be controls and laws and organization, of course, that's important, but no one should fear, you know, new immigrants here. This is what this country's about.
Judge Sonia Sotomayor being sworn in as the first Latina Supreme Court Justice. What did you think? What did you feel when you watched her confirmation hearings and being sworn in and her
Well, it's another woman first, so that's fantastic right there. I was proud. I was really proud. I was honored and privileged that I was able to see something like that happen, and for my daughter as well. I think it's a great example, and hopefully there'll be more and more of that as time goes by.
Gloria Estefan, and tune in right here October 21st for a CNN primetime special event, Latina in America. Again, that airs October 21st.